Hello, this is the 50th issue of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from Trent Wildy's book, A Change in the Priesthood, A Change in the Law. Starting near the top of page 27, the fact that the Nazarenes kept the feasts is a well-attested part of history. The book of Acts records, when they asked him to stay longer, he, Paul, would not consent. But he said farewell to them, saying, I must, by all means, keep this feast that is coming in Jerusalem. But I will come back to you again if God wills. Then he set sail for Ephesus. Acts 18, verse 20 and 21. Later, for Paul had decided to sail past Ephesus so as not to spend time in the province of Asia. For he was hurrying to arrive in Jerusalem, if possible, for the day of Pentecost. Acts 20, verse 16. These passages indicate simply that Paul kept the feasts, but they don't tell us much concerning his manner of observing them. For that we must look elsewhere. We sailed away from Philippi after the days of unleavened bread, and within 5 days we came to the others at Troas, where we stayed for 7 days. Acts 20, verse 6. The implication in this passage is that Paul kept the feast of unleavened bread in Philippi. What is significant about this is the fact that under the Levitical law, all males were required to keep this feast at the temple in Jerusalem. If Paul were under this system of the earthly temple, the Levitical system, he would be breaking the law on this point. But since he was under the priesthood of Melchizedek, his priestly activity was to be done in connection with the heavenly temple, and therefore was not centered around the temple in Jerusalem. Footnote at the bottom of page 27. Footnote number 29. The 3rd and 9th hours were the times of sacrifice in ancient Israel. See Josephus, Antiquities 14.65. Apostolic Tradition 41 6 and 11Q19, column 25, 7 to 8. Mark 15:25, Acts 3:1, and 10:30. Footnote number 30. See Leviticus 9:24, 1 Kings 18:38, 1 Chronicles 21:26, 2 Chronicles 7:1. 31. Footnote number 31. See Exodus 23:14-17, 34:23, and Deuteronomy 16, verse 16. 1 Kings 8:16 and 14:21. 2 Chronicles 6, verse 6. Page 28. In further demonstration of Paul's separation from the typical sanctuary and its priesthood in his keeping of the priestly law, we will look at another instance recorded in Acts. Paul, after staying many more days in Corinth, said farewell to the brothers and sailed away to Syria, accompanied by Priscilla and Aquila. He had his hair cut off at Cenchrea, because he had made a vow. Acts 18, verse 18. Within the Jewish economy, one was to shave their head at the end of a Nazirite vow. Numbers 6, verse 1 to 21. The stipulations for ending this vow under the typical priestly law included animal sacrifices, which, of course, had to be offered in the temple in Jerusalem. Strikingly, Paul does not here offer animal sacrifices, nor does he end the vow in Jerusalem, where he ought to. Rather, he ends the vow hundreds of miles away from Jerusalem, in Greece, after which he sails to Ephesus, Acts 18 verse 19. Again, if Paul were under the Levitical system, he would be in overt disobedience to the law. Yet Paul does not do away with the law or with the Nazirite vow. He observes the vow, but in a different manner, a manner separate from the Levitical system. The importance of this cannot be overemphasized. Let us not fall into one ditch or the other, thinking Paul either did away with the law or that he simply observed it after the manner of the Levitical law. No, neither he nor Jesus abolished the priestly law, but they both did observe it in a manner which differed greatly from other Jews of their time and from the Levitical system. Lastly, in his first letter to the Corinthians, Paul said, "Clean out the old yeast, so that you may be a new batch of dough. You are, in fact, without yeast. For Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed. So then let us celebrate the festival, not with the old yeast, the yeast of vice and evil, but with the bread without yeast, the bread of sincerity and truth." 1 Corinthians 5, verse 7. The promotion of Passover observance in the above quoted passage is, needless to say, blatant. Paul and the early believers continued to engage in the priestly law. Page 29. Equally manifest, however, is the fact that the manner of observance here advocated is indeed different from the Aaronic manner. The Paschal lamb here is not an animal of the flock, but it is rather Christ himself. The difference is clear, as it is in all the other examples we have looked at. Footnote at the bottom of page 28. See also John 6, 1-15, which records Jesus remaining in Galilee during Passover instead of going up to Jerusalem. The events recorded in the rest of John 6 also took place away from Jerusalem, showing that he did not go to Jerusalem for the rest of the feast of unleavened bread. It is only in John 7:10 that he again went up to Jerusalem to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, but even then he went secretly. Check that out. Good day.